Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good
Bye.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
So thanks a lot. So, guys, this is Deepak Parekh. Today we are having a very interesting agriculture roundtable on a very important commodity, which is sugar. And when we talk sugar in Indian sugar industry, we also have to talk about ethanol because now we have seen that it is having extensive impact on the overall sugar ecosystem. And we are having some of the best possible speakers who understand these subjects very well and are participating here. We are having two panel discussions. One is when we'll be talking about sugar, and another we'll be talking about ethanol. And we are having Mr. Roshan Lal Tamak, an eminent voice. And Tamak Sah was also in Dubai recently for one of the sugar conference, and he has shared his knowledge and wisdom there also. And we are privileged to have him here as the panelist who would be talking about a very important aspect, sustainability. And then we are having Mr. PRAFUL VITHALANI, again, a very eminent voice and someone who is taking this sector to the next level. I always love his energy and enthusiasm of not just helping the industry with the policies and the basic processes, but also he's one of the visionary who talks about technology, innovation. So Praful Bhai, again, welcome. Pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Then we are having Robin. Robin will be talking about some of the interesting work in short presentation about how you can predict the prices, because that has been one of the very difficult thing which we have seen with so many policy changes across the globe and even in India. And then we are having Mr. Dilip Patil, who is again a very eminent voice. He will be covering discussion around ethanol. Sood Saab, a legend in the industry. We all know that actually, his multi-decade experience in helping the government to form policy, corporate to enhance their businesses, and now as an evangelist who is working across the industry to help people like me and many who are on this panel as well would be an audience in typically mentoring them so that this industry become better. We are also having other speakers. If I can have Prerna, if you can start your video, that would be great. So Prerna is one of excellent analysts, has been working extensively in doing what we need today, analyzing the sector and then sharing the wisdom to the rest of the people. Then another very eminent voice and a great friend of mine, Rahil. Thank you, Rahil Bhai, for finding out time. I know you have been traveling, very busy schedule, and you are a practitioner on the ground, just like Tamak Saab or Praful Bhai or Dilip Bhai. So we will be having again words of wisdom from you, sir. A pleasure to help you. Mohan, Narang Saab and Kapil Nema Saab would also be joining us on ethanol. Again, two very eminent voices, and to be frankly, I'm overwhelmed today because type of love and affection this ecosystem is having for me. All of you making yourself available, that itself is a big achievement. And with folded hands, I thank all of you to be part of this discussion. We would start with you, Tamak Saab, because we would like to start with a little bit of divergent approach. And we also have Nitin here. He always talk about how do we typically identify how much acreage is there, what would be the yield. So he'll also give a small presentation on about the technology being used. But Tamak Sahab, coming to you, we have seen that this has been an industry which has been not touched too much by technology except few companies. And DCM Shriram is among one of them who started pretty early in identifying technology, applying that to make the overall production of sugar more efficient at the same way, at the same time sustainable. Sir, your initial view that actually how do you see the sustainability and efficiency created with technology, sir?
Thank you. Thanks, Deepak, first of all, for providing this opportunity. And my compliments to you for bringing together such esteemed speakers and panelists for sharing their views. As far as this particular aspect of sustainability is concerned, so as we all know that sustainability can only be achieved if we address all three aspects, that is economic, social, and environmental. And as we are a basically agri-processor, so we deal with agriculture and smallholders. So therefore, we need to address the entire value chain, that is sugarcane value chain also, and sugar value chain also, manufacturing process also. So that factory part is a little easier, but beyond the fence is little difficult. So in agriculture, as India is having smallholders, and smallholders have their own challenges. So therefore, to organize them better, to help them better, we need to consider the situation on ground, the difficulties being faced, and the ground realities. For this purpose, what we have done, we have basically on 3 criteria, we have identified the needs on the ground, basis on 3 factors. 1, suitability; second, scalability; and third, sustainability. Because from location to location, area to area, needs differ, challenges differ. So therefore, you have to be quite local, and so that this meets their demands. Then further, we have divided into 2 parts. One is there are lots of time-tested practices which have been prevalent and which are being adopted on by ages, but somehow those are not being implemented in a structured manner on scale. Like, for example, trash mulching. So this is not a rocket science, but it has to be implemented on large scale, and an enabling ecosystem has to be provided. There are multiple such practices. Second is because we have to cope up with time and we have to be future ready, so we have to embed the new technology also, like artificial intelligence, machine learning. So we have done 2 things. We have created a sustainable sugarcane production program. We have identified the interventions in the areas of water use efficiency, fertilizer use efficiency, land productivity, mechanization, all areas. And then we have developed a scheme, developed a program giving very specific targets to practices that on how much scale this can be achieved. And then we have roped in technology providers like many drip irrigation company, mechanization companies. So we have created that partnership. We have also roped in academia and research. Indian Institute of Agriculture Research, Indian Institute of Sugarcane Research is our partner. And multilateral agencies like International Finance Corporation and civil society organizations like Solidaridad have also been roped in, so that every aspect is covered, right from capacity building to providing solution and monitoring the implementation also. Same way, as far as new technology is concerned, we have roped in established corporates also and startups also. We have promoted startups. We have also tied up with Ministry of Information and Technology. We have evaluated 12 startups, given them the problem statements, and provided them all the opportunities, our farms, our factories, our labs, and the domain knowledge also, just to test their offerings. So we are moving in this direction by adopting these 2 approaches. The results have been quite good and encouraging, though in the new age technologies, still the solutions have to be refined and the impact is yet to be seen. But this is the only path which we can adopt and should be adopted. So my initial comments on this issue, I would like to cover this much only at this moment, Deepak.
Perfect, sir. Very well articulated. I totally agree that actually efficiency and the technologies are going forward very vital, because the type of numbers we are seeing, Rahil bhai, I'll come next to you, that we are seeing that actually, like, there have been, was a demand, genuine demand for the industry, like, when we talk about increasing export and opening up exports, and that was done. Second demand also of, like, getting better price utilization on ethanol, that has also happened. But we are seeing that actually this year the production number would not match the previous year's numbers. Your initial take on that, actually, how do you see the market unfolding? And we are already seeing that actually, like, the small noises coming out, whether actually, like, even the timing of this opening up of export, is it going to add any value? Your initial views on that, Rahil bhai.
Just to answer your question in 3 parts, most important is we all have to understand that the dynamics of Indian government opening up the export depends on how the government numbers are. It doesn't depend on what MEIR numbers is or what any other trade house would have the number. So just to give you the ballpark, SND which currently stands is, as per the Government of India, the opening stock is about 8 million tons. The production according to government is around 27 million tons. So that's add up to about 35. Your consumption would be about 29. So government have 6 million, 7 million tons of closing stock in their hand as per their balance sheet. So 1 million tons out from this system still leaves with us about 6 million ton in the hands of the government to take care of October and November off season, which generally starts with the new harvest. So I think if you look at 6 million, 5.5, 6 million is fairly substantial closing stock according to us. So the government timing is just perfect. And what has that done to the domestic market is that वो कहते हैं ना एक तीर से दो शिकार. तो उन्होंने MSP जो है, they have not increased the MSP, but by allowing the diversion of 1 million ton into the world market, they have actually allowed the industry to get themselves closer to the MSP level demanded by the system. So today our domestic market in Maharashtra has moved up to around 38,000 rupees. In UP, it is about 40,000 rupees. So what was ISMAs and other association demanded was that that we have the MSP at around 41 rupees, then benchmarked it down to 39. So government technically, by allowing a diversion of export of 1 million ton, have actually given the MSP in return. I mean, you don't really need a notification for it, but it is done out of the in a better way. Then secondly, if you look at next year, our production is going to be around 37 million tons. The hard numbers, okay, we have to wait to see how the UP planting goes. We have to wait and see the monsoon, but it's fine. I mean, today, the land in cultivation is about 5.8 to 5.9 million hectare. If you take a normal average yield, will be about 460 million tons of sugarcane. So next year, our hard numbers, according to us, will be around 37 million ton. If we, at these prices, ethanol is a question mark, because you really need to increase the ethanol price as well. But if you today look at how it is, we benchmark that 4 million tons of ethanol will go. Again, your consumption around 30 million tons. You are left over with 3 million tons for the government. So next year also there is a scope for government to leave an export of about 300,000 tons. What I suggested to one of our friends in the ministry was that instead of coming out with 1 million ton or 2 million ton upfront, you rather come out with a monthly export quota as well. You give a monthly domestic quota. Why don't you give us a monthly export quota? So you're not pushing everything together. You're not flooding the world market. You are getting your premium to your nearby markets like Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Horn of Africa, which will consume 200,000 tons a month. And that's a 12-month project for the government. I mean, we are not out of the market at any point of time, and we are not need to set up our brand. So I think, just to summarize it, as you mentioned, I believe that government is right in opening up the export. The timing is just perfect. We needed that demand to come from the Ramadan demand to come from the world market. Today, sugar is being sold at $530. Domestic market still continue to be $450. So export is paying us $70 premium. So, we should thank government for it. Ethanol price needs to be increased if they want to continue with the target of 20% blending, because government objective more than the industry objective. So they have to pull and push as well. And I think government have done the MSP, which was a part of discussion, so that the domestic market have moved up to that particular point.
Perfect, excellent. Again, very well articulated, Rahil bhai. But definitely, I would say that being part of industry, your wish list was a little bit longer, but ठीक है, देर है, दुरुस्त है, जितना है, इतना अच्छा है. And now I'll go to Praful bhai, who has been someone who has been pushing for all these things to change. And in fact, in the last ISTA also, conference, beautifully organized conference, Praful bhai, one of the best conference I've attended and spoken at. So you have been again a very leading voice. So how do you see that, the changes, specifically opening up of export from industry perspective? Do you think it is could have been a little bit more? Also, the price increase in ethanol to certain extent, like molasses and all that. Do you think we need to have a little bit better prices? अगर थोड़ा सा और बढ़ा दे तो ठीक है. और सोने पे सुहागा अभी सुनने में आ रहा है कि एमएसपी भी 34 रुपए करने वाली है सरकार बड़ी जल्दी. So your initial views on that, sir?
Hi, Deepak, thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, the same thing from you. It was a nice speech on our conclave at AISTA. And yes, first of all, my disclaimer today is from my Keshavji and Company group of companies and noted AISTA chairman. My view to this is that production number could be 26.5 or below, not above 26.5 at all. This is my today's view on the number. As far as government policies are concerned, I was looking the policy of this 1 million ton export could have been postponed for a month. And sugar to be sold in season, when the sugar get produced for 4 or 5 months, if it is sold, it is always sold at cost of production or 1 rupees, 2 rupees higher, or it can touch even to the MSP of 31 and so. It has not gone down below 33 as such, but it was a loss to the industry. What was my look is that 25-26, as Rahil said, there is going to be a big crop. Okay, so the need is that MSP was the highest wish to get it done. If that is being done, at least the cost of production comes to the industry. My principle is that half glass of water, empty or full, that glass is my sugar industry. If sugar industry is there, we are there. If it is broken, then we will be get broken. So not like textile industry, the life to the sugar industry depends on the MSP and not this miscellaneous 1 million ton of export. Secondly, second priority was of ethanol pricing. That ethanol pricing, it's like if I'm putting million and billion of rupees of investment for ethanol, and I am the opening batsman like Tendulkar in India to start ethanol, and if I betrayed by lower prices, then that is unacceptable, unexpectable, and it is injustice to the sugar industry. And even that price is not. So first highest priority for life saving was MSP and ethanol. As Rahil said, I do agree totally with him about that 1 million ton of export has survived these 2-3 months of not selling at lower price, and industry will get some good realization of that 2-3 2-3 months of maybe 5 or 6 million ton of sale in the domestic market. At the same time, that domestic market is the obstacle for the export because that prices are high against, because what's happened that UP, Bihar and this industry, they sell the quota. What is today out of traded is 35% is the physical exports, whereas 65% of traded export quota is just a paper quota. Now to make it physical export with that premium of $60 or $55, it is not possible to get it exported. So हिंदी में कहावत है कि घर के भी नहीं रहे और घाट के भी नहीं रहे. कहीं ये 10 लाख टन नहीं गया और 4-5 लाख टन पे ही रुक गए तो एमएसपी भी गया, इथेनॉल प्राइसिंग भी गया और 4-5 लाख टन पे हम लोग को लॉस होके खत्म हो जाएंगे. तो हमारा ये मेरा पर्सनली व्यू यही है कि एक आहिस्ता की दृष्टि से क्या होता है कि मैक्सिमम मेंबर हमारे डोमेस्टिक और exim trade के हैं. If suddenly government banned like what Chidambaram had done earlier, suddenly at the midnight he says sugar export banned, and at that time lot of deals were done as per the international laws, and all exim traders were in problem to fulfill that target from other overseas market. So that can be, if something's open, I pray God that 27.5 be the production. I feel wrong, I prove wrong, and that my trade of 1 million ton get done and they didn't come in problem. Secondly, the domestic traders, once they started looking of putting restrictions of stock limit or license, Raj, and say again turnover days and everything, that kills the business. That Babu Loks comes to your office or your godowns to check the stock and everything. That's a big problematic business. So we don't want that business, and I pray God that the production should be more than 27, and such restriction doesn't come to exempt traders or domestic traders. And yes, the time will it's a Pandora's box this time, that what will be the number of production, and that will decide. I wish that trade doesn't get disturbed, government doesn't get disturbed, their decision become the true, and I come wrong. Thank you.
No, but Praful bhai, frankly, like, I also do little bit of analysis. थोड़ा बहुत हम भी analysis करते हैं, sir. So our analysis and based on the multiple data set which I have been able to see, because nobody is doing pan India yield estimation like using technology, but there are people. कोई गुजरात में कर रहा है, somebody is doing in Maharashtra, somebody is doing in Uttar Pradesh. So three key areas, if you see, like, where the things happen, right? And sir, our number is a slight even below than you. So we are looking at 26.1, around that 26.1 or 26.13. So range of that. So I also wish like you that actually, like, the God grace us and suddenly some magic happens and the production is far more than what we are estimating. But the position looks a little bit tight. So for that, we'll go to now Prerna. Prerna, you are an analyst. Like, the I think the rest of the people definitely they have interest in trade. You don't have any interest in trade. What does it looks to you like? When we talk about the numbers and going forward, where do we stand?
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes. So we in our industry we have a saying like lower gets further lower. So for India, this year 2024-25 has been very challenging, and we are on account of lower yields, lower sucrose recovery rates, and multiple factors are behind that. So what we have seen is right from the planting to the growth phase, and then that saw the below average monsoon in 2023, which got compensated to some extent by 2024 above average monsoon when to some extent. Then we saw the crush season. It started with the early flowering we witnessed for the season. Again, the labor shortage issue worsened. Further, we also witnessed that the crushing season was delayed because of the state election in Maharashtra. These all factors have strained the production. On top of that, the government flagship with ethanol blending program, which has ever increasing ethanol blending rates. Now for this year, 24-25 ethanol year, the distilleries are instructed to deliver more 60% of the sugarcane juice based ethanol in Q1 of the ethanol year. That comes to by January 2024-25. So that will also lead to further reduction in the sucrose recovery rates. Seeing all that, analyzing these factors, our numbers are closer to 27 million tons. But at the same time, as you all are saying, and the industry associations are in between 26, 27, closer to 26 million tons. Obviously, in the as the year ends, we are not seeing a promising outlook. Definitely, it's going to be it's going to be the worst sugar production we have seen in the last 8 years. Further to that, in terms of prices, when the crushing started, the prices dipped to 33 rupees per kg, and again recovered in January based on the reports of lower sucrose recovery rates coming from different states. And on 20th January, the government gave a sweet surprise for the industry, and it came out of the blue at that moment. So, and the sugar prices jumped 10% thus far, like from 28 till now. So we overall, if I see in the near term, based on the factors that I shared and lower production that we are seeing this year, definitely the outlook is not optimistic. Plus the government export program, these are going to support the sugar prices. Relatively, I expect the sugar prices to be firm. And if in your question that you said, you asked whether we are seeing government to go for additional increase in export quota, if there is any likelihood. So for me, as an analyst, what I see is, based on the current scenario, I don't see India utilizing 1 million ton of export quota to its full extent. Based on the current sugar prices, the domestic sugar prices, it has made the India sugar expensive in the global market, and that is leading to the sluggishness in the demand coming from the destination markets. The New York, in another 2 months, crops hitting.
Perfect. Perfect, Prerna, for like really, I said that giving a neutral perspective. Now I would like to go to Mr. Mohan Narang. Mohan bhai, thanks a lot for joining and being someone who has been
Next
involved
year
in
expecting higher sugar.
Yeah,
So there's
Prerna,
all factors.
we lost your audio for a couple of seconds, so that's why I switched to Mr. Mohan.
No problem. Can you hear me now?
No, we can hear it. So yeah, please your closing comment, please.
So so as I said, I don't, based on these factors, I don't see like India fully utilizing the 1 million ton of export quota. I don't see very likely in this season. And the question of any further increase is definitely I don't see based on the current scenario.
Perfect. So, Mohan bhai, question to you, sir. Right, how do you see, like, I also agree to a certain extent what Prerna said, that we might not be able to exhaust a complete quota. So in such scenario where domestic prices are going up, we are not, I'll say that, doing good justice to opening up the export by having non-competitive prices in India. How do you see like these challenges? And then definitely, like, as Prerna said, 8 years worst possible production. First time, I think after a long time, it has happened that our demand is more than our production. So in this scenario, how do you see that the challenges of the industry, and going forward, how do you see the market, sir?
Thanks, Deepak bhai. As Rahil bhai said and Prerna said, 27 net production. Like what I feel, the consensus is building up to 26.5 kind of a production net in India, and a closing stock of 5.5. And looking at these numbers, government has enough ammunition in their hand in terms of quotas or in terms of releases to control the prices. Now, coming to export, what Prerna is saying, that she doesn't see the export happening, the complete 1 million ton not happening. According to me, almost 2 to 2.5 lakh ton is already sold and traded. I'm just giving you the number as what we take the feedback from the market, and almost 2 to 3 vessels also have been traded. And if we talk about the demand, there had been continuously good demand. Now, when we compare the prices, initially when the sugar mills sold at a lower prices, exporters have sold, and if they've sold at 530 FOBs, they have made good money. The mills have made good money. And the next tranche, the mills who have jumped up to 43,750 or 43,500 ex mill, we see the prices, the cost coming from India around 535 FOBs. And I don't see any issue in selling Indian sugar at all. And I feel, according to me, a 1 million ton will be over by max June, July. And Deepak bhai, even your comment was that export is slow. No, it is not slow. The demand is there. And I also don't think that the government is going to stop midway the export. If government has taken a decision to allow export, they won't stop it midway, even if the prices go up. And they will control the prices domestically. And if we talk about the domestic prices, like if the prices have gone up by 238 after the announcement of the export quota, 38.5 in Maharashtra, I'm talking particularly of Maharashtra. Today the prices have come down to 37 or 36.80 in Maharashtra. And when we talk about destinations, Guwahati or Pune or Dankuni, the ex-mill realization in Maharashtra is coming to 36.50. So the prices are not gone up really after the export announcement. And even if we think the crop is lesser, like Kapil used to say earlier, that the prices reflect the crop numbers. But the prices are not reflecting the crop numbers. Everybody was expecting the prices will go to 39.40 in Maharashtra. Whereas going up to 38.50 or 38 levels, it has come down to 36.50 or 36.50 to 37 now. So prices have come down. So government is not worried much on the prices. And on the export also, let me tell you, if 2.5 lakh ton has been traded, 2.5 lakh ton has been purchased by exporters as quota or as sugar from the mills. Balance 500,000 ton is to be disposed of by the mill. And I think in next 2-3 months, that will also be disposed of.
Perfect. But sir, I agree with you on for sure. Like, when you are saying that export is now picking up, I also see that, like, initial euphoria would be there because, like, it just opened up and there was a lot of pent up interest in that. But across the season would be whether a million ton would be quota would be exhausted or not. That still I'm having my doubts for sure. We can agree to disagree. And I totally agree with you that actually government is not going to go back. So, like, this U-turn I don't expect to happen. So government will continue with, like, what they've done, but adding any more export into whatever they're saying, I doubt that is going to happen. And now, actually, like, we also have Mr. Ravi Gupta, Executive Director of Sri Renuka Sugars. Sir, actually, like, though I know that I've requested you for ethanol, but if I can have your indulgence, sir, because, like, being one of the large exporter, sir, your views on how do you see export panning up, because that will enlighten all of us a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Deepak. So I was hoping to have question on ethanol rather than sugar, and my able co-speakers have well covered everything already. Uh, what if you ask me, the government priority will always be domestic consumption. That's a top priority of any government. And with the democracy of our size, that will get, and I will not be sitting tight that, U-turn will or will not happen, because U-turn does happen. I can give you example of 2016, 2023, exports suddenly stopped, and then duty thereof, then we imported also. So these are the possibilities which cannot be ruled out, and this will plan out, according to what the production is. Now, production is at a stage where even a 500,000 ton matters. 500,000 more solves all the problem, 500,000 less creates all the problem. So we have to plan out how the production comes and keep a close watch rather than just living in a conformity that nothing would happen, because it will get very, very critical. And I agree with Mohanji. I think what my figures are around 300,000 tons of quota almost traded. And I think in terms of sugar contracted will be roughly around 200,000 tons, which is moving very fast. But at the same time, this is just a 500,000 ton, and production will be known in next 2 months. So it is going to be a little bit critical that how the production number plan out, which will probably decide the next strategy, how it is. Currently, if you ask me the production, I think, doesn't looks to be very promising. I can tell you about us. In Karnataka, we have already closed 2 plants with 25%, rather more than 25% lower production. And so plants are closing very, very fast. Let's see how it plans out. And only export, I would like to mention one thing, that if the world market is thinking that they will get Indian sugar export rush at a cheaper price, it is just not going to happen, because our domestic prices will continue to go northwards. And also for this 300,000 tons for which quota has been sold, there is the additional cost of on an average $50 per metric ton. So if 1 million has to go out of the country, the prices will have to stay here or go above to attract Indian sugar. Otherwise, I think the commercially also the sugar exports will not happen.
Perfect, sir. I totally agree with you, sir. As sir, see, the proof of pudding is in eating, and you are saying that actually already mills are 25% short, right? In their production and into very critical locations. So going forward, I think that could be the scenario. And again, I'll like to have indulgence of Tamakji. Tamakji, industry is always worried about till the last moment what are the numbers, right? And the policymakers are also confused. Sir, then why this scientific way and approach of doing the estimation of the crop is still not being implemented extensively by maybe the group of companies or the whole ecosystem or even the government, right? We are still in that old age mechanism of doing all these crop cutting experiment and all those type of things. While the technologies are available with the 95% accuracy, I was in recently in Holland, and the people are actually doing the analysis pretty well. 25 different countries were being monitored using satellite, and the numbers were pretty good. Sir, when are we in India gonna adopt it at I'll say that with a very strong approach and very strong push, because Indian companies who are into prediction and analysis, they are struggling, frankly. They're not getting business.
Yeah. So, Deepak, actually, you're absolutely right that this can be done up to reasonable accuracy levels. And here again, there are certain tools and practices, scientific tools, by which we can assess on physical basis, and particularly for industry like sugar, where cane area is measured, GPS coordinates are very much there. It is being administered by state governments very, very closely, and factories are also very much there. So it is the most organized sector. So this can be done. It is a matter of taking initiative only. And initiative can be taken up by industry associations and of course government. So there is a system. In fact, I had written one article also on this, that how correct estimation can be done. So by conventional methods as well as newest technologies. And this right now, the technologies of satellite imagery, remote sensing is very much available, through which we can get reasonably accurate data. In fact, in our company, we have got the experiments done, and it is being done in the last 3-4 years. That how can we assess the sucrose content also, and how can we assess the yield also. So and there is about 90% plus accuracy, 90 to 93% accuracy has been achieved. And as I mentioned earlier, there are few startups which were given this problem statement by Ministry of Information and Technology. I think it can be taken from there. The solution is there. And now industry associations and government can take this matter up and take up to the logical conclusion. This should be done. Otherwise, it's all guesstimate. But we should have some skeleton, some base on which we can derive our knowledge.
Sure. So I'll go to Praful Bhai. Praful Bhai, definitely, as you have put the disclaimer, you are not talking on behalf of ISTA, but still being member of association. Sir, how do you see, putting this pressure partly it can be funded by the government, then the industry can also chip in. Maybe we can ask government, like, that for estimation, they can put it as a cost, as a CSR money. So, sir, do you think these type of push required? Because as Tamakji rightly said, guesstimate doesn't give you right policy, and everybody is like, सबको एंजाइटी की दवाई लेनी पड़ रही है कि अभी नेक्स्ट क्या होगा, सरकार की जब भी जीएम होती है सबका बीपी बढ़ जाता है. Sir, your views as an individual who is a member of an association, sir.
The all thing is that Deepak, I'm in sugar from 1977. I have a small experience of 48 years. And based on to say, for all these things, I would like to say only one thing, that government should never have any policy be done on or before 28th of February on any estimate. Because last year also we have burned our hands. Earlier also we have burned our hands. And like Sushma Swaraj said in the parliament, that in Kandla, one vessel is there for import and one is get loaded for export. What is the trade policy India have? And the night Chidambaram closed the export. So such things we have already have experienced. We have made the mistakes, and if we don't want to make mistake and doesn't prove ourselves full into the world market, we should have a rule that we should not do any exim policies on or before 28th of February. That will make, irrespective of data, irrespective of whatever the research it may be. This is depends on not one or two factors. There are multi factors are there in sugarcane and sugar. So instead of to be more experts in one way, we should be more careful of government's rule that first my domestic consumption. And to prevent that, we should get such policies that not to do mistakes again and again.
Perfect, sir. Thanks a lot, Praful Bhai, for being
you.
here. I know you're having another appointment, and thanks a lot for joining.
Thank
It's
you.
really a pleasure to have you. And we would let you go. We didn't want it to, but still, thanks a lot for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Right. So, Prerna, I go to you next. Like, again, same question. Like, we work on guesstimates, right? When you are doing analysis, like, how comfortable or how confident are you about, like, as Raviji very rightly mentioned that, like, few lakhs ton here and there can make a big difference. Now, and there we are talking about, like, the deltas of, like, plus minus 15-20% going off. How confident you are about the data when you are seeing that?
Okay, talking about confidence in data for Indian agriculture, you being a veteran in this industry, So I'm not going to question, create a controversy saying anything on that, but I'll just give a brief of how we do the estimates. So we have a team of agronomists, and we go on field visits. We go during the germination time, the planting time. We ourselves during harvesting, we go. Our team goes for crop cutting experiments. So we select an area in mid of the field, and a sample of that, we do crop cutting experiments by ourselves, looking at the sample, the internode length, girth, the number of sugarcane stalks in that clump. Then these all factors help us to give the dimension of the sugarcane crop as well as the yield that is likely to be seen in the year. So this is the methodology that we adopt. And I would just, as you would have seen, TRS as a company, we are not generally we are on the outlier side. Even for 24-25, we have been always closer to 27-28. So our numbers were even from we started our survey in June 2024 for this season, and we were closer to 27.2. Then we increased to 27.8. So we have been around this level when the whole industry, not in the whole industry, but majority of the consensus was around 29 million tons. But again, we saw how the market has moved. Now, confidence about the numbers. So based on whatever efforts that we do, we are I would say we are confident about the numbers closer to 27, unless there is substantial reduction. But at the same time, given the pace of milk closures that is happening, which was a trigger for us as well, and it is faster than our expectations. So 35 mills already closed in Maharashtra. Majority are from Solapur and some from Marathwada. The similar 15, we are hearing that it has been closed in Karnataka. By end of the month, we are expecting another 50 to 55 mills to be closed for the season. That is definitely like giving us a signal towards not a very optimistic outlook for, I would say not a very optimistic, but towards a downside and significant downside in sugar production.
Perfect. So I don't believe that actually, like, when you question the system, it's create controversy. Maybe like, on some news channel, it might create controversies. I strongly believe, like, the confidence in the data, which especially coming from the government, I have got zero confidence, and I've been always questioning in multiple commodities their numbers. I've questioned them this 29 also. Yes, I started with 27, but today I'm firm believer that it should be 26.1 to 26.3. Rahil bhai, going to you, sir. Actually, like, as industry veteran, you have been done multiple side of the table, large companies, own companies, mills, and everything. Sir, when it comes to, like, when you see the trends of the mills shutting down so close, do you see real challenge of production, or do you see, like, that the numbers eventually, like, comes out, or like, the industry comes out to ensure that the numbers which they've been talking, they're at least able to put it on the papers?
So I'll take up this question, Deepak, but I just want to go back to the estimation and being wrong and right on the estimation. Brazil is more or less can be drone estimated. In October, they were talking about 36 million ton, 37 million ton. Eventually, November and December crushing put them on to 40 million tons. Look at Thailand being talked about 14 million tons, now being talked about 10 million tons. So I think irrespective whether we are scientific or we are non-scientific, if you put a plot of graph, I think Dilip and Roshan bhai will smile onto it, is that we have a lesser volatility than them. The problem is we all want to be controlled. For example, why should a government come up and say, I will announce a policy after 28th of February? So on 20th of February, if he produces 40 million tons, we all suck our finger to say, okay, now the prices are 25 rupees. We need to subsidize it by 31 rupees. Where are we going to go wrong in sugar? Let aside pulses and other commodities where we are dependent, edible oil, we are dependent. Look at sugar, where we are dependent on. We have the closing stock. It's not that we are going to go down to zero. Even if our production number is, say, 25 million ton, let aside all of us failed. From 25, we go down to 25. Take 8 as an opening stock. We are 33. They are reported stock to the government of India. Out of 33 million tons, if we consume 29, we are left out with 4. Or say 30, we are left out with 3. Mills are so efficient today that they can even start on 15th of October. We probably will lose a small bit of recoveries onto that account. Point number 1. And if the shortages comes at 3 million tons, and what you see in pulses are a 20 rupees and 100 rupees kilo variation. We don't even see a 2 rupees kilo and a 4 rupees kilo as a variation. Today, including last 4 or 5 years of inflation on sugar, if you look, we must be today at even at 37 rupees, negative contributor to the Indian government inflation. So I think what government is doing is perfectly correct. I think the estimation needs to be done, but the policies needs to be preempted and pre-done. We can't say, okay, now we are going to blend ethanol of 4 million ton after 28th of February. Who's going to give you ethanol after 28th of February? So I think, when we criticize the government or we criticize ourselves because we are so controlled today that we don't want to think about an Adam Smith theory of Lafayette. Okay, you do it yourself. The cane is yours. The mills is yours. So I think somewhere where I think, I want to put to the panelists that we need to talk about decontrolling the situation, not more controls on the situation. So I think we are already controlled. Matlab, you are not just with the chain, you are head neck, cuff neck, everything, and still we want more controls to come in just because, I don't know, we can talk more on the control side. So now coming back to your question on export,
I will just let me add this control part of it. The pulse sector is actually facing what has been suggested sometimes of more control. So 47 notification in one marketing year, right? and sugar industry should be so happy that you don't see those notifications coming right, left,
No,
and
because
center.
your 47 notification give you a volatility of 10 rupees, 20 rupees a kilo. Give us 47 notification with a 20 rupees volatility. We all will be laughing to the bank, bro. Don't worry about that. Deepaba, I'll be sorry. Can you just repeat the question? Because something it comes out of my heart. You know, sugar industry is the one which asks for regressive policies.
I agree. I agree
We
to.
are not the one who talks about progressive policy. I mean, at a $70 premium to the world market, why the hell do we think we will not export a million ton? Okay, government come down and clamp it. I mean, it's a government role to do it. I mean, it's not yours and my job. I mean, the government will work as to what they need to work. We has to work as an industrialist as what we can work best out of that boundary line. So I personally feel that that a million ton will go out. There is enough demand in our market, and I think mills should take advantage of exporting that sugar.
So, Rahil, in fact, we have answered my question. Like, we were talking about the confidence on the numbers, but we have already explained, right, that what happened in Thailand and what happened in Brazil. So, more or less that confidence in the data everywhere, or maybe sometimes data comes right, but how it is, I'll say that balanced out when the final report comes out could be the problem. So, maybe we need more transparency in that data rather than actually, the way it is being calculated. With that, I would like to end this panel discussion on sugar. Thanks a lot. It was pleasure to have excellent views coming from all of you. And next, we'll go to Robin.
Can I come in for a while? Only two.
Yes, sir. Please. Tamak, sir, your words are diamonds. Why not?
So basically, Deepak, actually, our discourse should be that how can we ensure a robust and sustainable sugarcane production in the country? Because sugarcane is such a major crop, such a big industry, and a catalyst in the rural economy, contributing to ethanol blending program, and of course, food security of the country, and contributing more and more in bioenergy space. So basically, and there is a very good infrastructure in terms of factories, very nicely built sugar complexes all across the country. And no intermediation between sugar mills and sugar factories. So basically, I want to emphasize that we should focus more, all stakeholders should focus more on input side stability. How can we increase productivity, increase the income of the farmers, ensure that there is minimum impact of climate change on our sugarcane crop. So for that, I just wanted to suggest I talk about this in various forms, that government has done a lot from output side, policy related issues, MSP, ethanol pricing, sugar pricing, everything. But on input side issues, all aspects are being taken care by various ministries, various states, various research institutes, like breeding, variety breeding, taken care by so many agencies, mechanization by respective state governments and central government, agriculture ministry, food ministry, something being handled by water ministry. So basically, there should be some organization, some structure like National Mission on Sugarcane, which can coordinate with all stakeholders, all industry associations, all central government departments, all state governments, all research bodies, to create a robust roadmap and oversee the implementation of that roadmap for ensuring sustainable sugarcane production in the country. That's my suggestion.
Perfect. Totally agree with you, sir. That was the best closing comment. Actually, instead of me doing it, Roshan sir, you have done it and you have nailed it on the head. Let's talk, because I believe India's problem in agriculture, just the sugarcane, is productivity. We have to enhance it in whatever way possible. Robin, my apologies. We'll have to curtail your presentation just to 5 minutes. So I'll just give a 1 minute brief. We have talked about all the predictions. AI can play a very vital role in not just predicting the yields, but also in predicting the price. And Robin and his team has done great work. Just a small caveat as what PRAFUL bhai has I'll say that made me understand the value of that. So I am the advisor to Acuro, so I'm having a vested interest. So that's I'll start with that. But I love what I've done. I've seen some of the predictions they've done, and they're awesome. Over to you, Robin. Try to close as soon as possible.
Thank you, Deepak sir, for the introduction. Wonderful to be on this roundtable today and speak about Acuro. I'll be sharing my screen. I have a presentation. Okay, if my screen is coming through.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so I would like to take a minute to introduce the Acuro team. My name is Robin Panwala. I'm the co-founder CEO at Acuro. I'm the former India head for Sequence AI, one of America's fastest growing AI companies. I almost spent more than 13, 14 years in Silicon Valley, USA, experience at top technology companies. And I've spent the last 10 plus years building AI software products. My co-founder CTO, his name is Pranav Verma. He's from the IIT, and he's actually he's one of the pioneers in building AI systems from India, and has been frequently recognized by top American computer scientists. He has been building data science and AI products for the top global companies for several years now. Deepak Parikji is our chief advisor and mentor. He needs no introduction on this roundtable.
Yes, keep it.
So Acuro. Yeah, so Acuro is building the future of, we are building the future of commodity intelligence. And what we mean by that is we are building world's first truly AI native commodity price forecasting. And, it's a commodity price forecasting as well as a trading signals platform. As we all know, this market, it poses unique challenges. Commodity markets are quite unique, quite unpredictable. Price movements are influenced by a complex web of factors, weather patterns, geopolitical shifts, supply chain regulation. And on top of all of that, there is vast amount of unstructured data from diverse sources that makes traditional analytics very, very, very insufficient for us to be able to make timely decisions. Today's AI offers unprecedented capabilities. It can understand and predict complex market relationships, which were previously not possible. So our mission at Acuro is to democratize commodity intelligence through today's AI and give every business the ability to make data-driven decisions. Now, how we do it? So the Acuro way is to do unified data intelligence. Our AI unifies diverse data sources into clear, actionable insights. Our goal is to transform this complexity into clarity. For every commodity that we do price forecasting for, we collect data from all these several different factors. There is fundamentals, technicals, weather patterns, geopolitical events, trade policies, global market disruptions. You basically name it. And what we really want to do is for enterprises, rather than driving, you having to drown in multiple data feeds and reports, we want to get you a unified view where all these factors are combined, and eventually there is a clear trading and a sort of a clear trading and more of a procurement signal, ultimately that leads to ultimately leading to stress-free decision making for you. The Acuro AI technology, we use extensive use of the latest breakthroughs in AI technology, and as a result of this, what we've done, we've built an app. This app will be commercially available starting next month in the app stores. We are starting with a few key commodities, and one of the key commodities that we are launching with is actually raw sugar, which is now traded on the ICE USA. When I met Mr. Ravi Gupta at the Grains World in December, he had challenged me to do price forecasting for raw sugar for ICE US and to do it for white sugar for ICE UK, and said we are happy to share some initial results with you. If you see the screen on the left side, this is our forecasting module. So our forecasting engine provides highly accurate AI-driven price predictions. In this case, it is for raw sugar, sugar number 11 for ICE US. And we predict the expected price movement, and we assign a confidence score to all the price forecasts that we do. We also provide actionable recommendations, whether to buy or sell. So we are able to do it with a very high degree of accuracy, more than 92-93% accuracy in terms of giving you that sort of a that signal where you can actually action on it. Because we have been able to do this with a very high level of accuracy, we know when the peaks and the dips are likely to occur, based on all that the AI model has been able to be trained on over a period of time. On the right side, it is our historical accuracy chart. So we believe that for the industry to be able to trust AI systems, we need to bring transparency. We should not just forecast, but we should also track and validate our accuracy. And what you see on the screen on the right is it shows how well our predictions have performed in the past. we are gauging ourselves on two dimensions of accuracy. One is the directional accuracy, where we measure how often our AI correctly predicted whether the price will go up or down. In this case, we were able to achieve a result of about 93%, which means 93% of the time, what we predicted was actually the case. On the price accuracy, we got about 94%. And believe me, this 94% is coming for a forecast which was done 30 days in advance for all these future contract months. So this comparison chart, between Acuro prediction and the actual prices, it provides clear validation of our AI's reliability over a period of time.
Robin, last minute.
Sure. Now, as a result of this, what are the benefits? So if you are a trader, this is going to help you boost your profitability. If you're a procurement specialist, this is going to drive cost efficiencies. If you are into risk management, you get better hedging. If you're an analyst, you get better research power, because now the research is being done by AI systems. If you're into sales, if you want to sell, then this gives you a sales edge. And if you're into finance and operations management, then this gives you better optimization of your working capital as well as your overall budgeting decisions. Right? We won the National Award for Innovation in Commodity Markets at the Grains World in December. And very happy to say we are requesting early access right now. So we've opened up the platform to few select key partners before we do a commercial rollout. So please go to www.acuro.ai. Please, you can see our website. You can see what the technology is. Please request for early access or reach out to us at info@acuro.ai.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Robin. Thanks a lot. I predicted you'll take half a minute more than what I've given you. So my prediction was also right. So thank you for that. We'll also now delve into Nitin. If you can, Nitin is from OMAGRI. They have been doing a sugarcane yield estimation for pretty long time in UP, in Gujarat and all that. Nitin, you're also having 7 minutes, but if you can close it in 5 minutes, I would be very happy. But I'm estimating it's not going to happen. Over to you, Nitin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Just 1 minute, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. OMAGRI. I am Nitin Prajapati from OMAGRI. OMAGRI is a digital deep tech agriculture platform where yes. In OMAGRI is doing work in we are using the satellite data and AI technology. With the help of this, we are identifying we are identifying different crops, doing crop classification, yield and acreage estimation, crop monitoring, pest and disease identification. So based on the remote sensing technology, we are use the AI technology, and we are serve to this technology to agriculture sector. We are working on basically on a crop identification, yield and acreage estimation. We are very well good accuracy in this one, and also we are total crop monitoring doing in the for sugarcane and other crops. And also we are going as a plot level advance, and we are providing weather-based plot level accurately crop advisory to farmer, and also solutions to some solutions to sugar industries. We already know the problem of the farmer and industry. There are some problem of the routine problem, the lack of the knowledge, their issue of the yield decreasing, some challenges of the climate. We are all well known, and also the industry main problem is the data. The accurate data is a very big problem currently in industry anytime. So we try to give a solution for it. For OMAGRI is present is platform OMAGRI Agri 3.0 is a Krishi Care, and here we are providing all the solutions here. We are giving a plot segmentation at a 0.9 acre level size. We give a crop status, crop classification, and acreage estimation. We are providing sowing date based on satellite data. So accurately when the crop is shown and how much the any crop produce available, we can easily identify. Also, we full time we are covering the crop health, we give a yield prediction in advance 2 to 3 months. So exact this number is very helpful to industry. And also we work for a farmer to give him a crop advisory at the precise level and customize his plot level advisory give to farmers. We have a mobile application for it to give advisory to farmer and also for a field team of the sugar industries. They can for a field mapping, they can accurate mapping and also monitor and give advisory to farmer, and farmer also can access from their level. We very well do a crop. First thing is a plot mapping is a very big issue. How much the acre land is a plot is coming. So we do a plot segmentation as very precise level. In this presentation screen, you can see the results of it. So very accurately, we identify the plot of the crop, and based on this, we go to in a AI-based advanced classification is object-based method. So we get an accurate result in a crop identification and also yield prediction. So our machine learning based model is a sowing date identification. We accurately identify the sowing date of the crop when the crop is shown. So this date we identify, and based on this, after we are doing a crop classification, very accurately. Current accuracy is around 92 to 95% in a various crop. In a sugarcane, we are going at 94% accurately. Currently, and also we identify sugarcane fresh and sugarcane ratoon 1 and ratoon 2 very accurately. So some of the example here presenting from block level to a plot level, we are providing the solution where how these yield acreage estimation and how the yield is going to. So some of the maps here I showed to you. When plot level also we can in a single village how much the yield vary, and then after some if we want to do their solution for it a farmer as an advisory level, we can process there. So based on this also we are a crop health monitoring, sowing date detection variation in the same area when the crop is shown. This is all our product are from a sugarcane crop, and also we provide a crop advisory or the customized level and any
last 1 minute.
Yes. So based on this, we are providing a crop monitoring system for sugarcane industry. Just one. I share my screen. Yes. I am sharing this platform with the accurate data we can view here. The sowing date detected here, we are giving a satellite-based sowing date. Here the maturity date, health, and then after how much the predicted yield is come here. So advance all the prediction we are giving here. This is the DE-wise crop health given here. Any plot we can view the plot of at the plot level we can view here. So our platform is for a large level to a farmer level. We are give all the facility in an individual plot. We can show where the is a crop health is going. In any case, the down in a single date we can view here and all the data. And also we are giving a customized crop advisories as per his plot size, how much the fertigation is needed, and any other treatment or operation inputs. Here major action we are given, and all this is the multi-language. So farmer get all the details in his local language. So this is the platform. Another one things I showed, we are giving a larger level area or the prediction of the.
You'll have to conclude. We are just running out of time. Just last 20 seconds, please.
Okay, I completing. So larger level of how we are giving the prediction of the yield and acreage. This is the sugarcane prediction of the one of the area. This is the Ayodhya in a UP area of the last year. So this is the plot level. This is the innovative power of the technology. How to we are showing to. here. So using the technology, we can यानी टेक्नोलॉजी के यूज से हम शुगर केन इंडस्ट्री को काफी हेल्प कर सकते हैं. हम प्रिडिक्शन एक्यूरेटली देते हैं कि 95% एक्यूरेटली, 94 to 95% of the sugar cane prediction we give.
Sure.
Yield and accuracy.
Nitin, we'll have to stop now.
Okay,
My apologies,
thank you.
because there's time limit. Can you stop sharing? So now we straight away dive into our next discussion. And thanks a lot, Nitin. Apologies for the time, because we have always limitation of time. Great work. And I've seen some of your yield estimation for Gujarat, and it came very close. While in Gujarat, I was also expecting a little bit of increase, which has shown in your prediction as well when I was going through it. Congratulations for that. Now coming to the next panel discussion on ethanol. Raviji, we'll start with you. And sir, broader perspective, how do you see the ethanol from sugar, right? While we are seeing that already the competition is from maize, and maize is a ganga, it seems like whole of India, which is not growing maize, is worried that why we are not growing maize. But do you think what would be the impact of the broken rice being used for ethanol, maize being used for ethanol, and then definitely molasses as well as syrup from sugar industry being used for ethanol? How do you see, sir, this going forward? Also, sir, your views on when we have preponed our 20% blending targets, how do you see it is going to impact overall the sugar ecosystem? And also your views, because I know you are having time limitation, you have to leave. Sir, in one shot itself also give some enlightenment on your food to fuel debate, which we have regularly. Over to you, sir.
Deepak, I think given your expertise, you should have been answering all these questions. But of course, I mean, you want to somebody say something, you want somebody else to say that. As far as the grain.
Sir, Ravi sir, just small thing. Sir, आप लोगों से इतना ज्ञान लेके मैं बोलने लगा हूँ. So it is all because of blessings of people like you, Sood Saab, Rahil bhai, Kapil bhai, Dilip bhai. So sir, thank you.
So, Deepak, let us put the thing in perspective. You see, in India, when we started the ethanol program, the multiplicity of the resources was always thought for, so that the program is consistent. So the plan roadmap, which Modi ji had also given, it wanted 50% of grain ethanol and 50% of sugar ethanol, so that if the one crop is less, other can make up for this. But what eventually happened is that, last year there was a perception that sugar crop is lower, so, and there may not be enough sugar for ethanol. And on the other hand, the corn prices were lower than the guaranteed corn prices given by the government. So they thought that let us encourage corn ethanol, and the prices of corn ethanol was increased tremendously high. So resultantly, what happened, that we got into a situation of importing maize by 3 million tons. This year also, most unfortunately, the grain ethanol was preferred over sugar ethanol. If to put the things in perspective, we had quoted for ethanol, which was equivalent to 5 million ton of sugar, but what was bought was equivalent to 4 million ton of sugar. So a million ton sugar ethanol was not bought, and which is what we are exporting today. And whereas corn ethanol was taken, which was equivalent to 13 million ton of corn, and we do not have that much of corn. Resultantly, we are giving somewhat rice, and also giving the option that, rice ethanol can be converted into corn ethanol, which has been contracted already. So I think in the right intention of doing 50% corn, probably we overdid as far as grains are concerned. And I think this is in the conscience, and this will get corrected. On the longer term scenario, I see resurgence of sugar ethanol over grain ethanol, most definitely, because of more than one reason. One reason being that in terms of net energy balance, sugar ethanol is far superior than grain ethanol. In terms of water use per liter of ethanol, same sugar ethanol is far superior than any grain ethanol. And third, from the country point of view, sugar ethanol is a lot better than grain ethanol because 80% of its revenue goes to the farmers. It is more reliable and consistent because it's a one-year crop. So the chances of crop getting bad is very less because longer plantation crop, more steady crop, as compared to maize or any other grain, which is a 4 months crop and highly prone to the weather. So in the longer term, I think India, I see that it will be using more and more sugar ethanol, and what we have seen in last 2 years on grains will get corrected, and which will be very good for the ethanol program, and also it will be very good for the grain ethanol producers. Like this year, grain ethanol producer was in a quite a difficult situation because if all the corn, which created a supply deficit, that ethanol would have gone, they would have lost money. So I think a healthy supply and demand balance is always good for the producer as well as for the program. So that is what my view is. As far as Indian ethanol program is concerned, I see it only growing, not stopping. We have the fastest growing program in last 10 years. You have seen it that, I was in Dubai making a presentation. I used the analogy zero to hero. So in 2013, we had zero ethanol program. In 2024, we are talking about 18% of blending. I think it will continue to grow, but the growth till date was much easier because we were using ethanol in the same vehicle which we were already running. Now we have to take a significant step, which is overhauling the ecosystem of vehicles by introducing flex fuel vehicles. So the path which we have achieved was difficult. Of course, the height was steep, but now we have to climb much steeper height, right? And we have to be well prepared for that. And how will we be well prepared? Today, we have to grow the acceptability of flexi-fuel vehicles to the consumer because the cost of flexi-fuel vehicle is more. So we have to reduce GST on that. We have to make more distribution center for E100. So all the ecosystem needs to be built up, which I think will happen eventually. And longer term, I see sugar ethanol dominating the Indian ethanol program as compared to corn or rice. I'm not saying corn and rice will not remain there. It will remain there, but primarily it will be a sugar ethanol run program.
So I totally agree, and I also believe, sir, it has to be like sugar ethanol program. It should be promoted more. Definitely, like food grains are not very well suited for it, and then there is this channel becomes more fierce when we start talking about the grains going to fuel. So one more thing, sir, how about the pricing of ethanol? So that is also a challenge area. Like what should be the right policy on that in your views, sir?
You see, I will be very upfront and I will be candid on this issue. You see, how I put it, you take easy choices, you will have a hard life later. You have hard choices, you will have a easy life later. It's something like that. So the pricing of ethanol has to commensurate with the prices of sugarcane as well as sugar. Not increasing prices of sugar ethanol will not help. Ultimately, what's happening today, if you look at it, now the mills are getting ethanol export prices, which is something like 42, 43 rupees, right? And the prices of ethanol, what it is today, is close to 37 rupees or 36, 37 rupees. What will happen? Eventually, the industry will make less ethanol and try to export more. Right? And what does it do? Short term, yes, you make money, you have money in the pocket. But long term, if the ethanol program doesn't run and we are not able to put our surplus sugar into ethanol, we cannot hope to export to the world market because India produces sugar at a 21 cents per pound today, whereas Brazil can produce it at 40 cents. So to have a export-based model in India, somewhere we are going to get hit. And that's what the government thought, and that's why ethanol program started. So I think as far as pricing is concerned, it should be ceremoniously done every year with the regimented process, every year in relation to FRP and in relation to sugar, so that this should be institutionalized and structured, so that not that industry is asking again and again, give us prices, give us price increase, and finally it doesn't happen. It should not run like this. Industry should know, okay, this is the price you will get based on your FRP. It should be increased every year at the same point when the tenders are announced, so that everybody is committed to a institutional arrangement rather than a stopgap arrangement. Some year it is increased tremendously and some year it is not increased. So the price increases in effect is must.
So couldn't agree more with you. Now I'll go to Kapil ji. Kapil bhai, your views on same. How do you see that this competition between multiple, I'll say that substrate for making ethanol, whether it is coming from grain, broken one, or maybe just maize coming from beautiful farm or sugarcane. Your initial views on that, sir?
Deepak bhai, I believe we'll have to create an ecosystem where all the feedstocks will have to coexist. It will not be possible for one feedstock to take care of the entire requirement, especially when we start looking at a scenario where we have started talking about blending prospects beyond 25, 26. We're talking about what should happen in 2030 and then beyond. So the requirement of ethanol clearly is increasing. The capacities are coming up on the ground. And of course, the idea of increasing the blending is on the table, along with launch of flexi fuel vehicles. Will have a substantial consumption of ethanol also getting diverted towards SAF. So keeping all these things in mind, we also need to ensure that there are equal participation from all the feedstocks, and which should ensure that we have a fair, equal, and valid distribution of all the crops when it comes to agriculture. And we are seeing a very decent increase in area in terms of maize when it comes to MP and Maharashtra. Bihar is doing pretty well when it comes to maize. The area has been increasing. So, I mean, last 2 years, maize has been a substantial support to the ethanol program, contributing a decent quantity when it comes to the overall blending percentage, or to the levels where we have reached now. Now, to go beyond this, we will need to have a continuous support from maize. We saw all of a sudden a big spike of requirement in this particular year, and government stepped up. Government provided a basic support of FCI rice, which was sitting in surplus in their balance sheets, to make sure that we cross that path and we ensure that we are reaching the 20% blending this year. So keeping all this in mind, when it comes to when we talk about sugarcane, which was the pioneer, where how the whole ethanol program started, I believe will still continue to have a 40-50% share in the overall ethanol supplies, and rest will be taken care by the damaged food grains and maize.
Perfect. One more question, same what I was talking to Ravi bhai. See, challenge is the pricing also, right? End of the day, right, the viability has to be maintained. Also, when we see it from the consumer point of view, sir, right? When I know that I was getting 103 or 104 rupees ka petrol, and then everybody knows actually we got what government has come out pricing for the ethanol. Suddenly, I start seeing that actually is someone cheating me, that 30% तो 60 रुपए का माल डाला है, बाकी 103 रुपए वाला माल डाला है, तो फिर भी मेरे को 103 में ही क्यों मिल रहा है? So on the consumer side also, this could be a question, it comes to the consumer's mind.
Yes, of course. It's actually a very valid question, but if you actually look at the maths, the poor OMCs actually are getting a double whammy when they are selling ethanol. I tell you, because on one side they are paying GST to a ethanol producer, and on the other side they are paying a VAT and excise to government on the same quantum, right? So in a petrol, in 1 liter of petrol, where it is actually 80% gasoline and 20% ethanol, you have you are actually double taxing the OMC, who is actually distributing the gasoline from the pump. So, if these double taxations, all these things get sorted, automatically the price benefits will start showing up at the pump level as well. And automatically, will promote, especially when the flexi fuel comes in, when the 100% E100 will be getting sold at the pumps, those benefits can be passed on to the customer.
Perfect. Ravi bhai, you raised your hand. Please.
Deepak, about the point which you raised about this ethanol at 65 and petrol at 100 to 103 rupees is a very, very valid point, extremely valid point, because this is because of the taxes. And when the scenario like becomes when we are directly distributing ethanol, E100, as you call it, when the flexifuel cars, so then ethanol obviously will be subjected to the tax, which is GST on this. That time the ethanol can be sold cheaper. It can be sold at the point where it is produced. In the current system, ethanol first goes from our distillery to the blending station to the consumption. We can have the pump right at our plant. The ethanol is sold where it is produced, right, in the vicinity of that area. So this is the kind of the best thing which India should look at it. And if you look at it, we can start this process in the states where we have excess sugar production, where primarily the ethanol is made, like Maharashtra, Karnataka, and UP. Start a E100 program where 100% flexible cars are there, and we run the program, sell the ethanol at our station, tax it at the GST, which is 5%, not at 40%, which petroleum gets, take care of its calorific value. And this is the most happiest situation which one can think of. And that is probably slowly we'll arrive at.
I totally agree with you, but Ravi bhai, actually the right noise is not being created, right? The only noise is being created by the industry or the stakeholders is about increase the price, right? How much export, how not to export. So this is the discussions which should happen, isn't it? That if we want to really be a progressive country and eventually like get the benefit, see, benefit either have to go to the farmer, it go to the processor, or go to the consumer. Currently, it is like, it seems that government is the only one who is having all the laugh.
I could not agree with you more. And as I said, easy choice, hard life, hard choices, easy life. Right? We should not look at what we are getting today. We should look at what we want 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. It's something like compounding effect. It may not give you result initially in 5 years, but when it can get compounded after 5 years, it will it will be far better than a simple interest. So we have to work in that context, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what we want, rather than today, domestic price is higher, so don't make ethanol. Tomorrow, domestic price is cheaper, then cry for ethanol. So this will not work. It has to be more consistent and more long-term program, because you will be creating an infrastructure. You will make automobile industry invest into it. You will make the distillery make invest in this. You will make the whole ecosystem. So it has to be fed. It can't be idling. Today, for example, the distillation capacity is, let's say, 17 billion liters, right? And we are not even 9.4 billion liters. It's idling capacity. It is inefficient. So we have to plan from that perspective. That I agree with you, that we have to think long term and not just short term. Okay, today I am getting gain. This is what the mistake Brazil did. When sugar prices were high, Brazilians, made less ethanol and exported a lot of sugar outside the world. And what resultantly happened, that corn ethanol took a supremacy because the market had to solve this problem. So it gave a room to corn ethanol to come in. And today the Brazil produces 10 billion liters of corn, right? And which is giving a very severe competition to sugar. I think this all needs to be appreciated, and we should have that learning to have a medium to long-term policy and not just focus on the short term.
Perfect. Now I'll go to Mr. Dilip. Thanks a lot, Ravi bhai, for
Yeah. Deepak, before you go to the next panelist, may I request your leave because I have to
Sure,
do
sir.
something.
Please, sir. And thanks a lot, Raviji, for your participation. It was really
My
very
pleasure.
intellectually stimulating. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So next, Dilip bhai, actually, same, when we talk about sugar industry and when we talk about the ethanol part of it, is definitely ethanol has given a shot in the arm for the sugar industry. How do we see going forward? How do we balance? Because see, as many of the panelists have just talked, when we talk about Brazil, they've been smart enough that actually they can switch in, switch out very fast because not too much of regulations are there. In India, actually, whether we want to produce more sugar or we want to produce less sugar and more of ethanol, it's all depend on the government policy because there is a restriction on how much of you can export. There is a restriction on how much ethanol you can make because eventually only OMCs buy that. How do you see going forward? We can make this, I said that decentralized in a way where actually, the choices can be made on a commercial benefit to the farmers and the processors. So you have to unmute yourself, Dilip bhai. Yes, sir. Now you're unmute. Yes, please.
देखिए अभी इथेनॉल के लिए शुगर
जी सर।
इथेनॉल 2003 में शुगर इथेनॉल के लिए पॉलिसी आई थी। अभी
जी।
इस साल जो है 70% जो इथेनॉल है ग्रेन बेस को जा रहा है। इसमें राइस है, मेज है, ब्रोकन राइस है, तो 70% इसको जा रहा है। 30% जो है शुगर को जा रहा है। 30% में जो हमने प्रिडिक्ट किया था 40 लाख मीट्रिक टन जो है इसको डाइवर्ट हो जाएगा। इथेनॉल एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया का कहना है कि 10% लोगों ने जो है इसमें टेंडर तो भरे थे लेकिन एग्रीमेंट नहीं किए, इसमें 10% कम हो जाएगा। अभी गवर्नमेंट ने जब जो हमारी अपेक्स बॉडीज है, इस्मा है और नेशनल फेडरेशन है, इन्होंने जो हमसे इनपुट लिया था उससे ये प्रिडिक्शन किया था कि इस्मा ने प्रिडिक्शन किया था 290 लाख टन हो जाएगा, नेशनल फेडरेशन ने प्रिडिक्शन किया था 280 मीट्रिक टन हो जाएगा। ये तो इनपुट शुगर इंडस्ट्री से आया था। जब विल्मर का प्रिडिक्शन आया 260 लाख मीट्रिक टन आएगा, तो सभी ने जो है अपना प्रिडिक्शन जो है एस्टिमेट जो है करेक्ट करना चालू कर दिया। तो उसके बाद जो है इस्मा ने 280 कर दिया, नेशनल फेडरेशन ने 270 कर दिया, आईएसटा और बाकी जो अपनी भी जो अभी 260 प्लस का एस्टिमेट किया है। मेरा ये कहना है कि ये जो एस्टिमेट आपने किया है इसको अगर हम ये करते हैं, एवरेज आउट करते हैं, तो 270 से आगे जाएगा। तो और ये जो इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग के लिए जो 40 लाख जाने वाला था, तो उसमें भी जो है अभी जो सी मोलेसेस का रेट बढ़ाया है और इसके लिए जो है राइस इथेनॉल के लिए जो विंडो खोला था उसको भी जो डाइवर्शन के लिए उन्होंने टेंडर मंगवाया है। तो शुगर इथेनॉल जो है कम जाएगा और शुगर से इथेनॉल कम बनेगा, तो डोमेस्टिक में शुगर ज़्यादा अवेलेबल होगी। तो मुझे लगता है कि इसमें जो आज की तारीख में सरकार ने जो 2 डिसीजन लिए हैं, एक तो सी मोलेसेस से इथेनॉल बनाने का, तो बाकी सभी जो शुगर बेस फीड है उससे सी मोलेसेस इथेनॉल का ही प्राइस जो है आज की तारीख में अफोर्डेबल है। बाकी इसमें थिन मार्जिन है, इतना थिन मार्जिन है कि तो थोड़ा भी अगर एफआरपी बढ़ गया तो ये जो है हमारा इथेनॉल शुगर बेस इथेनॉल जो है बी मोलेसेस से और जूस सिरप से वो लॉस में जाएगा।
अभी सर आपने जो बोला, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि लाइक कितना इसमें इंक्रीज है एक्चुअली सिरप में और बी मोलेसिस वाले में करना चाहिए सरकार का?
नहीं सरकार, देखिए इसमें रिस्ट्रिक्शन है। हम मैक्सिमम कितना कर सकते हैं? अभी इस साल हमने 40 लाख मीट्रिक टन डाइवर्शन का सोचा था। अगले साल ज्यादा से ज्यादा समझो 50 लाख मीट्रिक टन शुगर ही डाइवर्ट हो जाएगी। उससे ज्यादा शुगर डाइवर्ट ही नहीं हो सकती है, क्योंकि जो कैपेसिटी जो है शुगर टू इथेनॉल की, वो इससे ज्यादा नहीं होगी। बाकी जो ग्रेन बेस्ड इथेनॉल है, वो अभी हमारा टारगेट 20% का है, तो इस साल मान लीजिएगा 20% भी हो जाएगा। लेकिन शुगर टू इथेनॉल का क्या, जिसके लिए हमने ये पॉलिसी चालू की थी, वो तो उसको तो लिमिटेशन आ गए। तो हमको इसमें 2G ग्रेन बेस्ड इथेनॉल को जाना, हम अभी जा रहे हैं 70% ग्रेन बेस्ड को जा रहे हैं, 30% ही शुगर टू इथेनॉल है। तो अगर हमको 5% डीजल में ब्लेंडिंग का टारगेट, हार्दिक पुरी साहब ने कहा था कि हम 5% डीजल में भी ब्लेंडिंग करेंगे, ये 20% से 25% भी ब्लेंडिंग का टारगेट कर रहे हैं। तो इसके लिए इथेनॉल आएगा कहाँ से? तो इसके लिए हम हमारे पास 2G इथेनॉल 3G इथेनॉल की टेक्नोलॉजी भी होनी चाहिए। उस दिशा में हमारा जो है हमको आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा, तभी हम जो है इसमें आगे जो है हमारा जो टारगेट है वो अचीव कर सकते हैं।
सो आपके हिसाब से हम अगर ये सब पॉलिसीज के अंदर इस तरह के चेंजेस नहीं करेंगे, और आपने सही बताया कि 2G 3G इथेनॉल की टेक्नोलॉजी सर हमारे अभी इन हाउस तो है नहीं, हमको कहीं ना कहीं से बाहर से ही लेनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि उस पर हमने इस लेवल की रिसर्च भी नहीं की है। तो क्या आपको लगता है कि लाइक उसमें कुछ इंसेंटिव देने चाहिए कि दैट बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी अडॉप्शन हो इस सेक्टर के अंदर?
नहीं, 2G तो 3G को तो अगर आप इंसेंटिवाइज नहीं करेंगे तो इसमें कोई आगे बढ़ेगा नहीं, इसमें कोई काम नहीं होगा। जब तक 2003 में हमने इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग के लिए पॉलिसी लाई, जब तक हम इसको इंसेंटिवाइज नहीं किया, तब तक इसमें कोई प्रोग्रेस नहीं था। जब इसको थोड़ा इंसेंटिवाइज करना चालू कर दिया, गवर्नमेंट ने इसको प्रमोट करना चालू कर दिया, तभी जो है इसमें कुछ डेवलपमेंट हुआ और बड़े पैमाने पे शुगर टू इथेनॉल के प्लांट लगे। तो अगर इसमें 2G और 3G के लिए कोई कॉन्क्रीट पॉलिसी अगर नहीं आती है इसको इंसेंटिवाइज करने वाली, तो इसमें आगे हम नहीं जा सकते। और इसमें अगर हम आगे नहीं जा सकते तो आपको मेज इंपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा। मेज इंपोर्ट करके भी आपको जो है इथेनॉल अफोर्डेबल रहेगा, क्योंकि इसमें सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी जो है तो हमारे इंडिया के अंदर लोगों को रोजगार मिलेगा। यहाँ अगर अगर हम क्रूड इंपोर्ट करते हैं तो भी पैसा हमारा जाता है। अगर उसके बदले अगर हम मेज इंपोर्ट करते हैं और मेज पे ज्यादा अगर कैपेसिटी बढ़ाते हैं, तो मेज इंपोर्ट करके भी हमको जो है इथेनॉल बनाना अफोर्डेबल है, क्योंकि सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी चलेगी।
Perfect. So now coming back to you, Sood Saab, my apologies to coming you so late, but actually I wanted everybody to talk and then actually have, in fact, a sort of podcast with you on all what has been discussed, because your views are of immense importance and huge value. Sir, so we start with the basic first, right? Sir, I take forward what Mr. Dilip Patil was talking about, that we end up importing maize and we end up using our non-GMO, low-yield maize for ethanol, while not giving sufficient incentive to enhancement of whether it's technology or also to give right prices for ethanol being coming out of sugarcane. Sir, how do you see that and your perspective on that, sir?
Well, Deepak, if you permit me, I'll take up the subject in some other way.
Sure, sir, please.
Some of the few things which have been said here. One is that sugarcane, the reducing role of sugarcane in this, and several reasons were given, but they may not be the reason, because look at the bigger picture. For last 10 years, sugarcane production has been nearly stagnant. It has fluctuated by season. This is an 8-year low. But then if you look at El Nino, it had to happen. And other dimension is your increasing sugar product consumption. So if this business as usual goes on, the share of from sugarcane will shrink further. And incentive or no incentive, that is totally different. And secondly, as Dilip Bhai said, 64% of the program this year is from corn. And where I unable to agree with him is that it should be based on imported corn. If corn is not sustainable, it should not be done at all. It should be done to the extent it is sustainable. To correct Ravi, last year, corn was never below MSP. In fact, it started in 2023 at a good level, went up very fast, and then the government responded to increase the price because it's a cost plus pricing. And then towards the end of the season, the prices went up more. The government did not increase the price in spite of demand. And so basically, now this year, the government has suddenly become aware that it is hurting poultry industry and starch. It has also become aware that ICR's promise of achieving 7 tons per hectare is not possible. Because ICR's promise should not have been taken at face value anyway, because what have they done on pulses, oil seeds, that they will do something on this particular commodity. So we have the issue of productivity, and so where is it sustainable? You have this year they are waking up to the corn problem. They are trying to switch to rice. The contribution of rice has been little more than 1% so far. Now, with even yesterday, they have said the diversion is 2.4 million tons of FCI rice. That is absorbed in the third tender. So the switch which they have allowed till 11th of February, from where will they give? They will have divert more. Imagine each ton of rice is costing the government in subsidy about 20,000 rupees. So in a country which is resource starved for road, health, infrastructure, people going hungry and so on, is such a thing sustainable? To well, somebody else will say it is rotting. Some other solution has to be found if the rice is rotting in FCI godowns, but not that you procure at a high price and give it at half the cost to for ethanol. So basically, we are coming around to 2G, as Dilip Bhai said. But then let me remind you that we set up a 2G plant in Panipat, IOC plant. Was it 2 years or more? Not a single drop of ethanol has been produced there. And that area is very rich in agri residue. So somebody has to see, is the plant design faulty? Probably not. Is the IOC and the entire grand plan, which they had for 12 such plants in the country, has been shelved. And so 2G ethanol costs today about 135 rupees. The problem is enzyme. That is expensive. Can the ethanol program be sustained with 135 rupees? How much of 2G elsewhere in the world is being produced? We have to have a hard look at the whole thing. You have 140 million hectares and 1450 million hectares population and larger number of cattle. All of them are depending on this land. And we have a productivity gap, which has been sustained. One has talked about it for 30 years. And even if productivity gap is covered, I don't think we have enough grain because today a lot of people have malnutrition. You are 105th on the hunger index. That's why you see surpluses of food. And as they come up and start eating something, you may not have sufficient food. So one has to seriously look at the whole program and look at other ways other than chasing food. And on the other hand, sugarcane being the most suitable crop for it, in the whole discourse today, except for you and Prerna, we didn't hear about productivity. We didn't hear that we have reached a ceiling on sugarcane production. And the focus was on pricing, focus was on tax and things of that sort. First and foremost, it should be on the resource. Then there was a remark that you have surplus capacity. I would like to submit that you have 4 million tons of demand from other sectors, 4 billion liters, not tons, 4 billion liters. That sector, the ENA and chemical sector, their demand, they're also living under the face of the on the face of the earth. They also have to meet some demand in the country. You can't wish them away. That I'll use the entire 17 million capacity for ethanol, fuel ethanol only. And already the chemical sector is importing 600 million liters. So it's a misnomer that we are saving foreign exchange. On the one hand, you're importing corn. On the other hand, you're importing rectified spirit and highlighting only the savings in the foreign exchange for substitution of gasoline and keeping quiet about these two costs on foreign exchange, as well as the subsidy. And imagine there are only about 100 mills which are participating in sugarcane juice. Imagine again that the height of the program, 88% of sucrose went to food. I did a projection till 2030. And probably the share of food will go on increasing. And the industry, unfortunately, is creating a smoke screen. That it is basically an energy industry for ethanol point of view. Pardon my saying, so it's a food industry basically, with 88% going there. We are a big country, big population country, and we have to look at other sources of energy, be it nuclear, be it municipal waste, be it 2G. This route to me doesn't appear to be very sustainable. Thank you, Deepak.
No, sir, I couldn't have agreed with you more. Right? See, industry is having his own beautiful way of coming with the numbers which actually sometimes suit. But even industry will have to sometime understand that they have to go with the long-term planning, because I was in Europe and I was talking to a lot of policy makers. And one differentiating point I found while even engaging with policymakers and the industry, that everybody talk to me about 10 years and 25-year horizon, right? So in fact, I was invited at the Wageningen University to think about what the research direction should be for one of the topmost agriculture institute or university in the world, which is having more than 1,000 patent on and 1,400 scientists working. Is that for global south, do you think what is required in next 25 years? While we here, like, live in either those 25 weeks or 25 days, depending on the commodity you're talking about. So I think, like, the long-term vision and long-term allocation of resources is very important. So another, coming back to again, your perspective, the debate on even the pricing part of it, right? Now, if I have to buy a specialized car, right, which might give me less of mileage, or maybe like, having more higher of cost and all that, at the same time, like, the pricing so far of ethanol and petrol has not been differentiated when I'm using it. So there are a lot of studies which say that actually, like, cars does not perform at optimal level when the ethanol percentages are high. So as a consumer, losing on my mileage. At the same time, I'm paying the same price. Your views on, like, consumer pricing of ethanol when we are talking about it as a fuel, sir?
Actually, wherever any other country where the pricing is free, the pricing does reflect the efficiency. So it will be only fair to the consumer to do that in India as well. And right now, the ethanol portion of the gasoline pool, in terms of parity with the petrol, escapes the excise duty of something like 30 rupees. It is taxed 5%, which is not vettable, which is not, nobody gets credit for it. So it is a revenue, half of it going to state and center. And then the second tax on this is VAT by the states, which is charged to petrol as well. So taxation on ethanol is currently favorable to ethanol. If suppose the entire gasoline pool was taxed at one rate, then the ethanol portion also would be paying 30%, 30 rupees excise duty. So in a mix, I don't know how the government would agree to differential pricing, reflecting the efficiency, because unless you have two pumps like in Brazil, and the consumer has a choice, there beyond the actual effective use is about 43% of ethanol. Mandated is 27. So the remaining 15-20% is being used based on differential pricing, because the advantage which the consumer sees. But then to reach a use beyond mandate, I don't foresee in India. So it has to be in the gasoline pool, and there, as it is, the petroleum prices we are paying today may be subsidized by the oil companies, because the cost of fuel is almost constant, the CIF cost, but rupee has weakened. So there must be somebody or the other absorbing that extra cost. So how do we reflect? I'm unable to think of a mechanism of very well justified differential prices for ethanol and petrol to reflect their respective efficiencies.
Perfect. So last question before we wrap up this panel discussion and this roundtable. Moving a little bit away from ethanol, sir, with your permission. Sir, how do you see this, the talk about the MSP? Because I'm not able, frankly, enlighten me, able to understand that the impact of MSP, except for, like, I think financing, where actually, like, your drawing limit depends on the price of, the MSP. As a retail, as a wholesale, I'm not seeing that sugar price even close to MSP. Then why there have been, like, so much of concern of, like, government should increase MSP?
No, even that um, even that bank financing for the cooperatives. In one of the seminars on sugar last year, Sanjay Khatal clarified that even that is not an issue. So that is not an issue. It is made out to be an issue, and MSP is sentimental. Basically, it changes the perception. So sugar prices went to 32. The government is considering the sugar industry gave a estimate of 4166 or something. The government of India didn't seriously examine it. Otherwise, they should have given it to BICP, which is the qualified body within the government to look at costing of industrial products. And then the industry by itself went and said, why not you pay us 3,900? So which means they've lost their credibility of trying to negotiate. Then the government for somebody produced out of the hat 3,500. And now we are hearing 3,400 as the MSP. So how much 3,400 will help, I doubt. Even 3,500 will not. But PRAFUL Bhai's usual defense of MSP is that when the industry makes a distress sale, particularly certain pockets of Maharashtra, which brings down the prices all over, that will be avoided.
Right.
Just a couple of months of November, December.
Right. So perfect, sir. Actually, like, that was very enlightening, and thanks a lot for all of my panelists for their being there, being patiently, and listening to, like, each other, as well as, like, sharing their excellent views, because I believe that is where we all need to have counter views, understand from each other. But one of the biggest outcome of this discussion is that we need to talk more
दीपक
about.
भाई, मुझे एक लास्ट बात कहनी है.
Please, sir, please go ahead. Sir.
देखिए, जिस तरह से रॉ मटेरियल की कॉस्ट बढ़ रही है, एफआरपी बढ़ रही है, हर साल एफआरपी बढ़ती है, तो सरकार आज जो शुगर केन जूस इथेनॉल को हाईएस्ट रेट दे रही है, तो सरकार भी उसको अफोर्डेबल है कि नहीं वो देखेगी. तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता शुगर बेस्ड इथेनॉल वो कम करेगी, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. वो जैसा कि इस साल 70% ग्रेन बेस्ड इथेनॉल है और 30% ही शुगर बेस्ड इथेनॉल है. उसमें शुगर केन जूस है, इसमें बी मोलेसेस है, इसमें सी मोलेसेस. इसका जो योग किया जाए तो 30% है और बाकी का 70% है. तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता अगर रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट बढ़ेगी तो उससे लिंक हम अगर इथेनॉल की प्राइस मांगेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली ओएमसी जो है सोचेगी इथेनॉल तो इथेनॉल है. अगर हम सी मोलेसेस का इथेनॉल लेते हैं तो भी फ्यूल में जाता है, और सिरप का लेते हैं तो भी फ्यूल में जाता है. तो हमको हायर रेट से क्यों चाहिए? तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता जो है सरकार इसमें कुछ ना कुछ अभी जो डाइवर्ट कर रही है. हमको एक मीटिंग बुलाया था पुणे में, इसमें जो सहकारिता मंत्रालय है उसके डायरेक्टर आए थे और नेशनल फेडरेशन ने मीटिंग कॉल की थी. उन्होंने कहा कि आप आहिस्ता आहिस्ता स्विच करो, कॉर्न बेस्ड इथेनॉल को जाओ, हम आपको 4% से कैपिटल लोन देंगे और वर्किंग कैपिटल लोन भी आपको 8% से देंगे, और सभी इथेनॉल फीड से आपको मेज इथेनॉल को फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी देंगे. यानी सरकारी हमको अभी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता शुगर से ग्रेन को डाइवर्ट कर रही है. ये आपने अगर नोट नहीं किया होगा तो इसको नोट कर लीजिएगा. और जितना भी आज की तारीख में अगर दो जो डिसीजन सरकार के आए हैं, एक तो सी मोलेसेस, जिस दिन डिसीजन आया मैंने पूरा वर्किंग करके दिया था पूरे इंडस्ट्री को कि अभी ये दो फीड आपको बंद करने पड़ेंगे, स्विच करने पड़ेंगे. सी मोलेसेस सबसे अफोर्डेबल है. जब अभी राइस के लिए इन्होंने कहा कि हमने एडिशनल विंडो खोली है, आप इसको भी स्विच कर दीजिए. तो आज की तारीख में जितने भी 6 फीड है जिससे इथेनॉल बनता है, तो उसमें सबसे ज्यादा अफोर्डेबल जो है वो राइस टू इथेनॉल है. ये सोचने वाली बात है.
Perfect, sir. Point very well taken, and indeed we had a very good discussion as part of this roundtable. And I would again reiterate this point that productivity. We need to make this industry more efficient, enhance productivity of sugarcane farmers, and wherever we are able to deploy some of the technologies which can actually add up in increasing efficiency or making the sugar industry more sustainable. I think that is the way forward. I also have a personal bias that I always strongly believe that ethanol from sugar is still okay, but ethanol coming from grain, and that too when we are having the non-GMO maize, which itself is like having a challenge with the productivity. That's not very intelligent way to take care of the overall production of agriculture commodities in India, because we have a limited land resource, and that land resource has to be used intelligently, because we want to be self-sufficient in pulses, in oilseed, in grains. And now we are also have to understand that if we are trying to divert our grain away and still we end up importing after a long time so much of maize, it will impact other industries also. A holistic approach is required from the government, and I think more brains have to sit together, come out with a shadow policy, share it with the government, and then try to push it forward. With that, I thank all of my panelists. Yes, sir. Please, Susan.
I must compliment Deepak. I was looking at the clock, which I just see. He has kept it spellbound for 2 hours and 1 minute. And compliments to you, Deepak. You're a great anchor. And as Ravi said, you have given us the opportunity to talk, but there's nothing which you couldn't have covered yourself. Thank you very much.
No, sir. It's very humbling for me to coming from you, sir. And yes, I've been I'll say that grateful to all my mentors like you, who have been always put their hand on my head and always imparted with me so much of insight and information that I'm learning as a good student always. Thanks a lot for this contribution of all of you. Looking forward to again one more roundtable we'll be having. This would be a little bit of controversial roundtable, because we'll be talking about pulses, and in pulses it's very difficult for people to question the government, which they need to be. And in case you want to have more insights, please join us on 14th to 28th. We'll be talking pulses. Thank you. Signing off. Take care. Good day.
Thank you.